Welcome to It's a Marvelous Life. It really is. It's a marvelous life. Oh, goodness gracious me. Definitely better than the resistance panel you guys are all missing and whatever. So yeah, we're celebrating 20 years of Darth Maul. I was exactly 10 years old when The Phantom Menace came out, so I was perfectly primed to become completely obsessed with this guy. And I have not stopped following his story. I have not stopped thinking and talking about Darth Maul for the last 20 years. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I think some of you here follow me on Twitter. That might be how you heard about the panel. I did one of those Twitter, tweet clouds where it's all like your most popular words, and it was seriously just Maul in the center. It just said Maul, and then like words you couldn't even see scattered around it. It was disgusting. So when I first got the email saying, congratulations, you get to do a panel at Star Wars Celebration, woo! They were like, it's scheduled from 1 to 1:15. I was like, oh, is that how long they think it takes to talk about Darth Maul? Is that like, hey, welcome in, Darth Maul's great, he was in the Phantom Menace, he came back in the Clone Wars, Rebels, Solo, that's it, we're done, bye. Like, that was it. No. It's been 20 years, and this fandom has never slept on Darth Maul. Like, he's never left. People who say, like, oh, Darth Maul was wasted in the Phantom Menace. Oh, he's wasted. They never did anything with him. I'm like, don't tell James Luceno that they never did anything with Darth Maul. Just don't. All right, so, yep, we're going. Let's try to tackle this chronologically. So we're going to start with the dawn of Darth Maul, which I wish that had been the episode 9 title, honestly. Rise of Skywalker, Dawn of Darth Maul, this close to greatness. Okay, so here we go. We got the Phantom Menace. Maybe some of you here have heard of it. This isn't where Darth Maul started, but this is where most people think of when they're like, oh, where did we first see Darth Maul? Oh, we saw him in the Phantom Menace. Pretty cool guy. Pretty awesome. Got the motorcycle. He goes over the hill. Oh my gosh. Oh, when the bay doors open. Bum, bum, bum. Oh my God, I was 10. I was changed. I was changed forever when those doors open. It's like, oh, well, this is just my life now. This is what I was meant to do while I was put here on this planet. And I feel like a lot of you were probably the same way. Just like, who is this guy? He's so cool. So then, of course, I guess that begs the question, if this wasn't our first look at Darth Maul, what was our first look at Darth Maul? Well, it was actually the tone poems. Does anybody remember the tone poems from the lead-up to the Phantom Menace? Yeah, no, it was this cool thing. Lucasfilm released a whole series of audio-recorded tone poems about all of our new characters, and these are the posters that went in with them. I had an audio clip for the Darth Maul one, but it's not working, so I'm just going to read it to you guys, because I guess I can do an excellent Darth Maul impression. Who said I couldn't? How dare you? It's it's like January 1999, and you turn on the TV and you see a Pepsi commercial, and then the next thing is Darth Maul, and he goes, fear attracts the fearful, the strong, the weak, the innocent, the corrupt. Fear is my ally. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, some of you know it. I heard some of you out there. You know it. Oh, but and I have to bring this up. We have to talk about this because this was that tone poem was what Sam Witwer studied and listened to and practiced when he was preparing for the role of Darth Maul in the very first Clone Wars episode. So this is a formative piece of Darth Maul. Pablo Hidalgo has not gotten back to my multiple tweets about, is this still canon? Did Darth Maul recite this poem one day? Did he write it down? I have not heard back, but I still consider it canon. Why not? So yeah, Phantom Menace comes and goes. Spoiler alert, Darth Maul dies at the end. He dies, so you might be thinking, oh. Yeah, he just loses his legs. It's fine. He's fine. It's fine.
It's just a flesh wound.
It's just a flesh wound. So he dead now. He dead. He looked real cool, but he's dead. So that's gonna bring us into. Oh, is it gonna do it? Maybe. I'm gonna try again. There we go. The Maulvelous, or Yeah, he's dead, but seriously, have you seen how cool he looks? I mean, he had a freaking motorcycle and face tattoos. Okay, obviously, we're gonna do more stuff with him, so buckle up. Obviously. So, if you thought that Darth Maul guy was pretty cool in the movies, the thing you might go to next would be the Phantom Menace novelization, which is rad. Fun fact: this came out before the movie, so a lot of people read this book and then knew going into the film that Darth Maul was gonna die, and I kind of envy you because being 10 years old, I was just shocked. That did not feel good. Gosh, the Darth Maul in this book, it's a take. He howls when he's on the hunt. He growls a lot. It's a take. That's all I'll say. But I pulled up a quote just because this is my favorite thing. I thought it was so good. Darth Maul was a warrior in his prime, never to be any better. His powers at their apex. He had no fear for himself, no doubt that he would win. He was focused in a way that Qui-Gon recognized at once, a Jedi's focus, mindful to the present, locked in what was needed in the here and now. The Sith Lord was a living example of what the Jedi Master was always telling Obi-Wan about how best to hear the will of the Force. Oh, I think that's so good. That's so good. That he has a Jedi's focus. That gives me chills, you guys. So, if you read that, you're like, I don't remember Darth Maul howling when he was on his motorcycle. I don't know. You're looking for more Darth Maul content in 1999. The next place you would go would be children's books. Yes, The Fury of Darth Maul actually came with a role play book that went with it. So literally halfway through The Fury of Darth Maul, there's a page that says, if you would like to play this adventure for yourself, please see The Fury of Darth Maul game book. If not, continue to the next page. And I'm like, all right. But what's really freaking cool about The Fury of Darth Maul is that it gave us a little character called CP3X. This is Darth Maul found a protocol droid in the trash and was like, I know, murder. Oh, it's so good. It's so little Anakin finds a protocol droid in the trash and he's like, I know, he's going to help Mom. I'm going to build him to help Mom. And Darth Maul's like, no, he's going to help me kill. Here's a little quote. Although CP3X resembled an ordinary protocol droid, his body contained 83 concealed weapons. Darth Maul the exact location and function of each weapon, for he himself had modified the droid to be the infiltrator sentry. You're like, why isn't this in the Clone Wars? Why don't we see Darth? Oh my gosh. The next place you would go, speaking of children's books, is the Darth Maul Journal, which is terrific. This came out in March of 2000, right before my birthday. 11-year-old me is like, my time has come. So up here, that's actually an advertisement from one of the Jedi Apprentice novels that came out in January of that year. Clap your hands. You remember the Jedi Apprentice series? Anybody? Yeah. If you were 12 at the time, you remember. So, it goes, where's this guy from? What are his thoughts? Let's find out. So it's kind of ridiculous. You kind of believe that Darth Maul would sit down and keep his super secret diary, But this children's book, the Darth Maul Journal, is told entirely from Darth Maul's point of view, and in our timeline, it's our very first look at what Darth Maul thinks. And what is it? What's the very first word written from Darth Maul's point of view? You may think I am evil. I am not. Oh. That's so good. I pulled another quote because a lot of stuff has changed about Darth Maul over the last 20 years, but what will never not fascinate me is that the foundation laid in this book, in this children's book, 80 pages long, it really does set the foundation for the rest of Darth Maul that we see today. And that is that he was not only trained by Darth Sidious, but raised by him. So we're going to go ahead and do this quote. Never break a fall, my master would say. If you are prepared to break your fall, you are prepared for the fall itself. My master would say, there is no pain where strength lies. Do it again. Now I never fall. So Darth Sidious raised him to be Sith and raised him very harshly, and this has not changed. Many things about Darth Maul has changed, but that has stayed the same. And what's really interesting to me, a little 11-year-old me found this next quote very interesting. The seed for Darth Maul's revival is actually laid in this book. He can kill me in a heartbeat, yet something in me will not accept this, even from my master. My life force will not allow it. I struggle on, even in the face of his laughter. So Darth Maul has said several times that he would, die for his master's cause. And yet when that moment comes, when Sidious is all like, "You're dead now, son," he's like, "No, not even for him. I won't die even for you." And I find that so good. Later in 2000, we finally get our first Darth Maul comic, and right out the gate, they're like, "We know what you want. You want to see them tattoos." Oh my gosh. And then, of course, in the very first issue of this comic, they ask the question, as old as the Darth Maul fandom itself, are they everywhere? Wait, are those tattoos everywhere? Pablo, please, I'm begging, Pablo. And what's also super cool about this comic is that this gives us, you can't really read it, I thought you'd be able to, this establishes Darth Maul's connections to the underworld, the criminal underworld. He is sent to go undercover and deal with Black Sun, one of the criminal gangs. And so people don't realize that that's not something Dave Filoni just invented. That's been a part of Darth Maul since 2000. And it also, this comic establishes connection to the Night Sisters. That's not literal yet, that connection, but in this book, his big final boss is a Night Sister, and I just think that's so cool. And then, of course, it comes back to Sidious at the end, and Darth Maul has sustained several wounds over the course of this comic, and Sidious says, "What about your wounds?" And Darth Maul replies, "There is no pain where strength lies," quoting that children's book. What? This comic quotes the children's book. I love it. I love that so much. Next would be in 2001, we get Darth Maul Shadowhunter and Darth Maul Saboteur. Once again, going back to, there is no pain where strength lies. What are we doing here? We just keep going back to that children's book that most of the adults reading this book wouldn't have read. And I just find that so fascinating. And again, here it talks about how Darth Sidious has molded Darth Maul, has raised him from infancy. And again, this is something that has never, ever changed. Our next piece of Darth Maul content is going to be Resurrection. Yes? No? Maybe? Oh, this comic's amazing. Okay, so Darth Vader finds himself lured into a volcano where a bunch of dark side prophets are like, "Hey Vader, big fans of your work, but we're not really sure you're the right direction to go in for the Sith. So we've gone ahead and resurrected Darth Maul. We've just, how did we do? Don't ask questions. He's here and it's great." So it's just that's it. So it's like, Vader, you've been trained as a Jedi. Darth Maul, though, is pure Sith, and we think he's the right direction to go in. But, you two fight it out. Whoever wins gets to be Sidious's true apprentice and an ice cream sundae. Them's the stakes. So, Vader, will you face him? I will kill him. Oh, Anakin. So, oh my God, I love this comic, not just because of the cool backflips and the lightsabers. It's the verbal sparring that's so good in this comic. How Maul taunts Vader, calls him Jedi. You're not true Sith, you're a Jedi. And he says that there's a light inside of Vader that he refuses to extinguish. And Maul's like, there's no such light in me. Okay, all right, sure. And again, it comes back to, here Maul is saying, have you learned nothing from our master? There is no pain where strength lies. And I'm like, oh, maybe we should remember that. I don't know. Remember that line. And what's super good is that Maul further taunts Vader by saying, "A Sith draws on your hate, on your pain. You're a machine. How can a machine hate? How can a machine feel?" And Vader's like, "Well, I hate myself." And that's how he gets Darth Maul. That's what he hates enough to kill Darth Maul, is himself. Anakin has unlocked the power of self-loathing. You go, Anakin. But that's not the last time Anakin and Vader and Maul would cross blades. Oh no, that same month we got Jedi Quest. Literally everybody except Dave Filoni wants to see Maul and Vader fight. That's the fact. So little Anakin has gone to Ilum to collect the Kyber crystal for his very first lightsaber, and inside he sees a vision of Darth Maul and has to cross blades with him, and it's awesome. And Darth Maul's all like, "Yeah, you hate me for killing Qui-Gon Jinn, don't you?" And Anakin's like, maybe I hate you a little." And Maul's like, "Draw on your hate." And Anakin's like, "No, maybe okay, I will, fine." But Anakin finds the strength to drive Maul away, and Maul's all like, "Yeah, but I'll be back because I'm the master you really want." Anakin wants the permission to give into the dark side, and Maul kind of embodies that. Super good, great comic. The next one is going to be Nameless, which is only 8 pages, but it's epic. So this is the origin of Darth Maul's double-bladed lightsaber. He goes out to kill a Jedi, an old Jedi who's living out in the woods in exile, and Sidious sends Maul out to kill him. Maul leaves with a single-bladed lightsaber and comes back with a saber staff, and Sidious is like, "Explain yourself." So Maul talks about how when he attacked this Jedi, the Jedi defeated him with only a staff. Maul had a lightsaber and this guy had a stick and defeated him. And Maul realized that the single saber was kind of wasteful in a way. It could only attack from one side, and he really wanted to be able to attack from both ends. And then that's how he's able to defeat this guy. He gets him from behind. And Sidious is like, "Wow, such a weapon should have a name." And Maul is like, "No, it is just a tool in my hands the way I am in yours. It's nameless." So pretty awesome. We're going to talk about Phantom Menaces real briefly, because how can we not? Luke Skywalker goes to Iridonia, the Zabrak homeworld, as an ambassador of the New Republic, and the minute he lands, he's attacked by a hologram of Darth Maul. You don't know who this guy is, but just say, die. And so Luke is like, "What's up with that? That's weird." Goes to investigate. Turns out this scientist has been keeping Darth Maul's brain in a jar. As you do. So Luke's like, "Well, I got to put a stop to this." And the way he defeats Darth Maul is by unplugging him. Like, hooray! Okay, Marked. Oh my gosh. So before Marked came out, we had all asked the question, how did Darth Maul get his tattoos? And the only thing we knew, the only thing we had to go on was what Ray Park had said in interviews, which is, of course, he asked that question, like, where did all these tattoos came from? And George Lucas, behind the scenes of The Phantom Menace, had imagined that Darth Maul had done them to himself. So that's what the fandom did, and that's what the fandom wrote fan fiction about. And of course, this gave rise to the headcanon, Darth Maul's an artist. Right. So yeah, if you're writing fanfic in 2002 about Darth Maul, like me, you're like, Darth Maul's an artist. Look at this intricate, But Marked comes out, and Marked is like, "No, look at Darth Maul, it's this tiny baby tomato." And Sidious gave him the tattoos, actually, and I'm all like, "Sidious is not the artist." No, Darth Maul's the artist. Like, a huge portion of the fandom, like, actually rejected this comic and was like, "No, Darth Maul's an artist." Because it's like, you took something that was about Darth Maul's agency and his own self-expression, this huge part of his character, and it was like, actually, no, it's about Sidious's, like, control over him, like, that little baby tomato and the man he became, like, yep, a huge part of the fandom went, nope. So this will bring us to Old Wounds. Well, I expected hysterical tears, because, like, this is the comic, you guys. Like, it's pretty huge. Because so in the beginning of this comic, little baby Luke Skywalker hanging out on Tatooine, and a mysterious figure attacks the farm. Oh no! Who can it be? It's Darth Maul. He's been chasing down Kenobi, finally tracked him down to Tatooine, and is just like wrecking all sorts of havoc. And Kenobi's like, "Oh, we can't have this. Oh no!" So of course this would become, that's the look. This, of course, that would later inspire the Clone Wars. So I'm pretty sure Dave Filoni's read this. I have it, like, I'm 98% sure, maybe 99, I don't know. But gosh. So of course Darth Maul has to die at the end of this, because, if you're writing comics in 2005, you have to kill off Darth Maul. It's just a rule, I guess. The way he dies is Obi-Wan disarms him, and then Uncle Owen shoots Darth Maul in the head. Great. Thanks. I hate it. So then they're like, wait, isn't this the Darth Maul panel? Huh. So we got The Force Unleashed and The Force Unleashed 2, which of course we would talk about just because Sam Witwer, that is Sam Witwer. That's his face, that's his voice playing the character Starkiller. But I bring it up here because The Force Unleashed 2 gave us a little character called Maul Killer. This is the clone of Starkiller and Darth Maul, like the genetic, like just took the, like, so that's Darth Maul with Sam Witwer's face. Why hasn't he ever cosplayed this? I don't know. Okay, so it's time. It's time. Let's talk about. It's time to talk about the Clone Wars. What does that have to do with Darth Maul? He's dead. So our first look at Darth Maul in the Clone Wars actually begins with Monster, with this guy Savage Opress, and we don't actually know anything about him at first except that he looks an awful lot like Darth Maul. So we're taken to Dathomir, where we find out that the Night Sisters have a clan called Night Brothers, and they keep them as slaves. They use them for breeding and for manual labor. So I'm just like, oh, so there's a planet of Darth Mauls that all have to do what I say? All right. Okay. So this Savage Opress dude, he's actually, he's a good guy. He's a good person. He gives his life for this guy Farrell, who he really cares about. And then the Night Sisters take him and do all sorts of dark side magic on him to twist him up and make him evil to the point that he actually kills the person that he cared about so much. He kills Farrell. And I just think that's so interesting because then, of course, it's revealed that, surprise, Savage Opress, you have a brother. It's Darth Maul. So I just think that's very deliberate that they were like, oh, Darth Maul's brother started off as this good guy until he was just plucked out of obscurity, twisted up by evil, and just became this monster. And you're doing that with Darth Maul's brother, who was plucked out of obscurity by Sidious and twisted up, but maybe he's actually kind of a good guy underneath. I don't know. That's interesting. So this, of course, teased that Darth Maul would be coming back. He would not come to the Clone Wars for another year after this tease. So this will bring us into the Molosons. I call this the Molosons because at this point we get so much Darth Maul content. We get at least a new Darth Maul thing every year until forever, hopefully, just forever. So January 2012, 3 months before Darth Maul is set to return to the Clone Wars, we get content. We get Shadowhunter and the Phantom Menace novelization are re-released in paperback, and they contain 2 new stories about Darth Maul called Restraint and Endgame. I'm running out of time, so we don't have time to go into them, but they're awesome. The Darth Plagueis novel is told from Sidious's point of view, so we actually get to see the point where he adopts Maul all the way through Maul's supposed death in the Phantom Menace from Sidious's point of view. So we get to see that training. And what's super interesting about this new origin for Darth Maul is that this Night Sister named Kaisina, she, obviously she has a son, and she's like, oh no, I'm a Night Sister. That means I'm going to have to send him away to the Night Brothers, and he's going to be a slave. I can't look after him. But I guess luckily for her, I don't know, she has twins. So she sends Savage Opress to the Night Brothers and keeps Maul a secret. Nobody knows that she's had another son. And she runs away, runs into Sidious and is like, take him, save him, please. Hide him from Mother Talzin, the matriarch of my clan, because if she finds out that I had another son, he'll of course become a slave. And Sidious is like, okay. Yeah, like I'll take him and I'll make him into my apprentice. That sounds just fine. And so what's fascinating to me is that this gives us a weird inversion of the Skywalker twins, right? Obi-Wan knew that if Anakin were to have any children, that the Emperor would want them. So the twins were separated and hidden. Except in this way, the Emperor actually found one of the twins. So with Maul, we get to kind of see what that would have looked like if Sidious had found one of the Skywalkers, which, I don't know, I just think that's really cool. But so yeah, all three of these were all released within the same 4 weeks. So I'm not even kidding. Like January 2012 is probably the best for Darth Maul content. I'm not even. But then in that exact same month, we get the Wrath of Darth Maul, which is, it takes the Darth Maul journal from 1999. It takes those 80 pages and stretches them into 200 pages, and it takes it. The Darth Maul journal, of course, was a kid's book. This is a young adult novel, so it's allowed to be darker. It's allowed to be a little more edgy, and it's amazing. It really is young adult because in this one, Darth Maul gets his first girlfriend. Yeah. Yep. Ow! Oh my God, where are my Raylos at? I got any Raylos in here? Yeah. Woo! Yeah. He goes on this really sexy swim date with this girl. It's very, very chaste, but it's about so Maul, Sidious has tried to drown Maul several times to make him stronger. Sure, why not? So Maul actually really hates water and doesn't want to be near it at all. But this girl's like, "You want to go swimming?" And he's like, "Okay, fine." Sure, you're kind of hot, so I'll try it. So he's really nervous in the water, and but he lets her get close to him, and it's hot. It's really hot. But I wanted to draw attention to this book specifically because if you like the Clone Wars, if you like Savage Opress, this book gives us a really good look at kind of what they're going for with Savage Opress. So this is from the very first page of The Wrath of Darth Maul, when Darth Maul is just 7 years old. Maul moved slightly and saw something shift across the window's surface. Maul realized it was his own reflection. The first time he had seen his reflection, he had been startled because he thought he was seeing another person, another boy who looked like him and echoed his every movement. A boy who was free to roam about the planet's volcanic surface without fear of injury, who could leave Mustafar and go anywhere he wanted. A boy who could help Maul escape. Maul wished he were that boy. And then on the very last page, when we've caught up to Darth Maul in the beginning of the Clone Wars, or his appearance in the Clone Wars, we get this passage. The hulking man claimed his name was Savage Opress. Maul was not certain that Opress was his ally, let alone his brother. But Maul was willing to take that chance. Maybe he's a reflection. Maybe he's the boy in the window. So it's it's really cool that Maul sees that reflection, it's him, and he's literally been reunited with his twin brother. It's like Luke meeting Leia again. So then, of course, March that same year, just weeks later, the brothers are reunited. Maul's gotten a little, it's not great. But George Lucas talks about, or at least Sam Witwer talks about George Lucas talking to him about how Savage was going to literally descend into hell almost. He's our Greek hero descending into the underworld to pull out his brother's soul and bring him back into the world of the living. And then, of course, Mother Talzin gives, she does her dark side magic to give Maul a new body and his new cool robot legs. And Maul immediately is like, "Oh, I'm going to find Kenobi and mess him up." That's day one. That's his checklist. It starts Kenobi. And what's so good is that he does find Kenobi and he whoops his butt. It's so good. It's so good. But what I find really interesting is that, so I pulled that quote there. That's the little fortune cookie that would play at the beginning of every arc of the Clone Wars. So when Maul comes back, our little fortune cookie is a fallen enemy may rise again, but the reconciled one is truly vanquished. So in this, we have an explanation for how and why Maul's able to return, and we also have kind of a preview of how he's eventually, going to die again, because when we cut down an enemy out of hate, that enemy's just going to rise again. We see that in the sequel trilogy. The Empire was cut down, but of course it rose again. How are we going to finally defeat that evil? Well, the only true way to defeat an enemy is to make them into a friend. And I know my Raylos know what I'm talking about. The comics at this time all focused on Darth Maul and Savage Opress just being cool brothers and cutting their way across the galaxy. It's the best thing. It's just like if Luke and Leia had decided, you know what, murder? Yeah, let's just, yeah, lightsaber. Here's a lightsaber, Leia. Let's just do it. Let's just murder. Oh my gosh! And our final arc with Maul in the Clone Wars, of course, he winds up with the Mandalorians, and shout out to Prey Vizsla who found Darth Maul, and yeah, right. Shout out to Prey Vizsla. So yeah, he finds Maul and Savage Opress's like corpses, basically floating, frozen through space, and Prey Vizsla's like, I want to see where this goes. Spoiler alert, it does not go well for him. Maul ends up beheading Prey Vizsla, takes the dark saber, claims the throne of Mandalore, and it's at this exact moment that he not only gets his revenge on Kenobi by killing Satine, but also Sidious finally takes notice of him and comes and just wrecks everything. He just messes everything up, and I find it fascinating that Maul is so wrapped up in revenge. He's like, oh, I'm gonna get my revenge against Kenobi. I've whipped his ass, but that's not good enough. I have to like take something from him. And then he immediately loses his brother. Savage Opress is cut down by the Emperor hours after Satine is killed. And this suggests to me that the dark side craves, vengeance, and it's like all debts have to be paid. Ben Solo has to pay for what he's done, but the light side forgives debts, and so I have to wonder that if Maul had ever given forgiveness, maybe he would have found some too. I don't know. And here's one more thing from the Lawless that nobody talks about enough. Why doesn't anybody ever talk about this? You guys see what's going on here? Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's Luke, being shocked by the Emperor, and that's Maul being shocked by the Emperor, and that's in that moment Maul looks up at Sidious and says, "Mercy, please." Like he begs. That breaks my heart. This breaks me because it's the same thing with Luke. When Luke looks up at his father, says, "Father, please." It's a son looking to a father and asking for the pain to stop. And then that's what's going on with Sidious and Maul here, is looking up and saying, "Mercy, please," asking for the pain to stop. And with Sidious and Maul, we see what happens when that plea is denied. And that breaks me. It's really good. It's Star Wars, man. Star Wars will mess you up. And you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of that idea that there is no pain where strength lies. And so if you're a Sith, what Sidious is telling Maul is like, yeah, the pain doesn't stop when I give you mercy, because there is no mercy. We're Sith. The pain only stops when you're strong enough. So it's your fault that you're in pain right now. You're not strong enough, which is it's so heartbreaking, to break out of that cycle. So Sidious doesn't kill Maul here. He says, "I have other plans for you." And but we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen to him because the Clone Wars is immediately canceled. And I don't know, where's the boy? What's going to happen to him? Luckily, a year later, we get Darth Maul lockdown, and I'm like, oh, terrific! This must be about Darth Maul breaking out of wherever Sidious has thrown him. No, this is a prequel to the Phantom Menace about Darth Maul going undercover on a prison planet. Great, thanks. Go on. This one's amazing. What like strikes me emotionally about this one is that there's a young boy trapped on this prison planet with him, and who kind of thinks Darth Maul's the greatest. And this boy gets cut down, and Maul looks at this kid that idolized him so much, and looks at his killer, and thinks something's not right here. There's something in this boy's death that has to be set right. And Maul immediately goes on the attack. It's wonderful. Ah. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, whatever happened to Maul in the Clone Wars? Where's the boy? Bring me the boy. So we finally get Son of Dathomir. Yay! Finally, there's the boy. He's fine. He immediately breaks out. Like Sidious, throws him in super, dark side prison, I guess. And Darth Maul's like, oh no, I'm out, like in a second. He gets rescued by his Death Watch from Mandalore. They're still loyal to him, so they break him out, bring him back to Mandalore. And it's at this point that Darth Maul is like, you know what? I'm going to revive Mother Talzin because she's super powerful, and The Night Brothers are still alive, even though the Night Sisters have been decimated. The Night Brothers are still alive. So he takes his Death Watch to Dathomir, and they actually bring Dooku to Dathomir because they've kind of convinced Dooku to side with them for a hot minute. But then it's like, betrayal, Dooku, we're gonna kill you to revive Talzin. Spoiler alert: Dooku survives. I mean, obviously, because he has to make it to Revenge of the Sith, right? But it's enough to revive Talzin. Whatever energy they take from Dooku is enough to revive Talzin. At which point Sidious is like, oh no, I can't let that happen. So Sidious shows up on Dathomir himself to once again just decimate what Darth Maul has done, kills all of the Night Brothers, all of them. It's disgusting. And then so it comes down to Maul and Talzin versus Grievous, Dooku, and Sidious. Oh no, I don't think this is going to end well. And it's revealed that actually Talzin is Maul's mother, at which point the Darth Maul fandom, if you're writing fanfic, which I am, obviously, if you're writing fanfic, you're like, wait, what about Kaisina, that woman who was trying to save Maul from Talzin? I thought that was his mother. You know, you're thinking, oh, maybe she's lying to Maul. Maybe she says, I'm your mother, so that she can manipulate him in some way. But then when it comes down to, to this fight with Sidious, Talzin actually chooses to save Maul's life over her own. Pushes him so that he can escape, and then she dies. And it's this was based on this whole comic was based on unused scripts for the Clone Wars. So this would have been an arc, and it's the greatest tragedy of our lifetime that we never got to hear Sam Witwer deliver, like be broken and be all like, "Mother, no!" Oh, it would have been terrific. It would have been great. So the next time we see Darth Maul is in Shattered Empire. Leia gets a vision of Darth Maul when she's on Naboo, and I'm sorry, but that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Right? Like, let's talk about Rebels. Maybe some of you have seen Rebels. Darth Maul first shows up in Twilight of the Apprentice, and when I saw Darth Maul like fighting alongside at this point he's formerly Darth, now just Maul. He's fighting alongside Ahsoka and Kanan, and I'm like, nothing else matters for the rest of my life. Like, it's just nothing else. He reveals that they're all on Malachor looking for a way to destroy the Sith, and Maul says like, that sounds great to me, because at this point the only two Sith are Vader and Sidious. And of course, Darth Maul is still trying to kill Sidious. It's not about Kenobi. He thinks Kenobi's dead, right? Order 66 has happened. Kenobi's gone, and who is Darth Maul thinking about? It's Sidious. It's always been Sidious. Ahsoka actually asked him in Twilight of the Apprentice, what kind of game are you playing? And he says, the end game, Lady Tano. Like, that's the goal, is to kill Sidious. So in Twilight of the Apprentice, he's going to use this weapon on Malachor to try to decimate the Sith. That doesn't really work out, but luckily in Holocrons of Fate, he and Ezra are able to unite two holocrons, and if they do so, they can ask one question and be granted an answer. And Ezra says, well, I want to know how to destroy the Sith. What do you want? And in a moment that killed me, I'm dead, this is my ghost, Darth Maul looks at Ezra and says, hope. That's what he wants. That's all he wants. Like, that's the only thing he's looking for is hope. And that to me implies that what Maul wants is what the rebellion wants. He wants to see Sidious finally fall. Because that's what Maul has been raised his whole life to do. That's the point of any Sith, right? Is to kill your master and take what he has. And Darth Maul has been denied that at every point. He can't even get Vader. Like, there's no way. He's just like, this is never going to get done. I'm never going to be able to take this guy. I've been trying my whole life, and this empire is never going to fall. Please give me hope that this is going to happen. And he looks inside the holocron, and they see twin sons and Kenobi. And of course, Maul's like, oh no, that's no good. Yeah, I got 6 minutes left. I cannot get into it. So he does. So yeah, Maul does finally track down Kenobi, and he faces him because of course he does. He's been told that the only hope in destroying Sidious is somehow Kenobi is tied to it, and Maul isn't, and so he has He has to figure this out. And when he gets there, he's just all like, oh, you've just become this disgusting rat in the desert. How are you going to stop Sidious? And it's like, oh, are you protecting something or someone? And it's like, makes that direct threat against Luke. And that's when Kenobi's like, oh no, no, I cannot let you corrupt this boy. And so it comes to blows, and Maul finally is cut down. And it's not about, oh, Kenobi finally cut him really good this time. Like, he's killed him before. What makes this cut like any different? And for me, I think it was both of them finally had what they needed. This is Duel of the Fates Part 2, protecting the Chosen One. And when Maul cut down Qui-Gon Jinn, for the battle changed for Obi-Wan, I think. Because it wasn't about when Maul and Obi-Wan crossed blades and Obi-Wan cut down Maul that first time, it wasn't about protecting the Queen. It wasn't about, a Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, right? He wasn't using the Force to protect anybody. He was just using it to, out of vengeance, out of hatred, to cut down this person who killed his master. And so, of course, when he cut Maul down in hatred, of course Maul was allowed to endure. And Maul's own, hatred and determination and defiance, that will to get Sidious, to get his revenge, allowed Maul to endure. But this time, no, Kenobi is fighting as a Jedi with knowledge and defense, for no other reason. He doesn't want to kill Maul. He just wants to protect Luke. And in this moment, Maul realizes that, oh, there is a Chosen One. And that means that the Force is going to be balanced whether Sidious likes it or not. And so he finds that hope. He finds what he was looking for. And so he finally lets himself die. It's absolutely beautiful. Just yay, twin sons. It's so good. And so, that's the end. There was never any more Maul except, wait a second, yes, there was. Man, I only got 3 minutes, so I can't really talk about this comic, except that, in the first, 2 days after Twin Sons premieres, we get a new, Darth Maul comic, and it specifically, he says, I will have a long life. That's not okay. You don't do that. You don't do that to me 2 days after Darth Maul dies. Man, I really wanted to talk about this, Jedi chick who Eldra Cadis. Oh, she's so good. She's my favorite. I really wanted to talk about, because my Raylos know why this looks so familiar. I really wanted to talk about this, but I don't have time. I just don't. And then we got Ash. Ash is super good because we get to see a vision of Darth Maul as a Jedi, and he's like, what? Look at that face. This little kid's like, help us, Jedi Master. And he's like, okay. This Rancor, shows up to kill that kid, and Darth Maul's like, well, I am no defender of the weak, but I am a hunter, and that's a big Rancor, so he kills it, and that little kid's like, oh wow, that's me, same, he's so good. So this will bring us to, Solo, a Star Wars story. Oh, that looks like a fun adventure in the stars. What does that have to do with Darth Maul? Oh, only everything. Of course, this is Darth Maul's glorious return to the big screen. Oh my gosh. I felt like my soul left my body when this happened in the theaters. Just I was Kira, just staring at him oh no. It's so good. So the last thing I want to talk about real quick here is the top 5 reasons why Maul and Kira are raised parents, and you can't change my mind. You can't. I can't be the only one who sees that. I can't. Look how Maul and Rey, they're the same. They're the same. My father before me. That. Hi. Okay, here's the top 5 reasons. 1, it would be awesome. Oh my gosh, that would be so cool. 2, double-bladed lightsaber. Who wants to see Rey with the double-bladed lightsaber? Yes, thank you. And number 3, why else would Kira have brown hair? There's no explanation. None. 4, please just let me. 5, the Knight brothers were a unique human-Zabrak hybrid that created a gender dimorphism, including a lack of horns in their females of their species. So if Maul had a daughter with Kira, she definitely wouldn't have horns. Boom! In conclusion, with 40 seconds to spare, Disney, please pay me to write about Darth Maul, or by my silence. Yes, let's cheer for Darth Maul. We're cheering for Darth Maul, not me. Let's do it. Yay! Bye.